What's up, everybody? It's Itisha Bankston with The Gathering Place. Thank you so much for tuning in this week. We are excited to talk about business, Black-owned business. As you can see, I have on my shirt, I'm minding my Black-owned business. So we're here today talking to Black-owned business owner Kelli Banks. She has several businesses, and we are here to talk to her about those businesses. Kelli Banks is not only a business owner, entrepreneur, speaker, engager, a person that is a motivator and a personality about the town of Cleveland, but she's also my oldest sister, and I'm so grateful to have her here. So Kelli, thank you for joining us today.
Well, thank you for having me. I don't know if I can live up to that opening, but thank you very much.
Oh, it's the truth. Anybody that knows Kelli knows that she is super fabulous and all day long doing it. Anybody that attended that 50th knows that Kelli is fabulous all day long.
Thank you.
All day
thank
long.
You for having me.
Absolutely.
I'm honored.
Thank you. So we're here to talk about just the path to entrepreneurship. It's something that you've been doing for quite some time, but you didn't always start off as an entrepreneur. You started off in a different field. Can you give us a little bit of information about how you started and then what led to the path of you just deciding, you know what, I'm going to start my own business?
Sure. Before I do that, can I tell you just a little bit about myself?
Sure.
I am a follower of Christ, and I am a wife. I've been married to the same man.
To the same man.
The same man.
Not nobody else.
Wonderful man.
Wonderful.
For over 25 years. We have
That's a long time.
That's a long time.
That's a
Praise
long time.
God.
Yes.
And I have one wonderful son. We share a son together.
Yes.
And so that's the most important thing, those three things. And then after that, of course, is my business.
Yes. Yes.
And you asked me how I got started. I think that you and I both have an entrepreneurial spirit because of our mom. You know,
yes.
Our mother from the very beginning.
Father.
And father, right? You know, back then, and still today, they call it hustling, where we started off, you know, just they started off doing their own thing.
They did, yeah.
Mom was, of course, an excellent cake decorator, and Dad was a mechanic. So we were brought up knowing that you can make it on your own. You can do this.
Absolutely.
You don't have to actually have a 9 to 5.
And theirs was born out of a need. Because remember, Daddy got laid off.
Exactly.
And once working for one of the major factories in Cleveland. And so once all those things began to shut down back in the steel era, then he went into business for himself and was very lucrative.
Exactly.
Throughout his time of doing so.
Yeah, he was known as the neighborhood mechanic. And if you needed your car fixed, you would go to Dad. So,
and it was more than just 1 or 2 cars.
Exactly. Mom was the cake lady.
Yes.
So they had their reputations
in the city.
That's
yes,
right. That's just
and
true.
You are following in their
I
footsteps.
am following their footsteps.
People knew our parents in the city, and now they know Kelli.
Okay.
Yes.
So it all started when I graduated from high school. I'm just going to be honest and be real transparent with anyone that's listening or watching. I was pretty much burnt out from school. I did the 12 years.
That's a real thing.
Yeah, and I know that everybody pushes college. Go to college. I'm not telling anyone, do not leave this podcast, or if you're, looking at it on YouTube, that I am not valuing education or telling you not to go and get an education. That's not what I'm saying. I'm telling you my personal walk, which was I was just burnt out and I needed a break. But I also knew that I had to support myself. So I went to a trade school. Did not go to college. Went to a trade school at first. And from there, I was blessed with an internship at a healthcare organization. And I worked from the bottom up, literally. I started off as a file clerk. I then went to a data entry clerk. I then became a coordinator. Went from a coordinator to a supervisor, and from a supervisor to a manager.
5 levels. 5 whole levels in the same organization.
Level up.
Level up. You're not on my level. 5 whole levels.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
But it was truly a learning experience, one of the best experiences of my life. I can honestly say that through that journey, I learned a lot about corporate America. And I had one of the best teachers. I set up and was mentored under a doctor, very well-known doctor here in Ohio. And he taught me a lot. I sat in boardrooms with men, mostly men, some women, but mostly men, and we would negotiate deals with hospitals. Um, I ran the enrollment department. I was an enrollment manager.
That's big
and
business.
we did, it was, and it was very important because if we didn't have the numbers, the people, we did not get paid. We couldn't stay open. So we had to make sure that our numbers were right. So it taught me a lot about corporate America. And like you said, just leveling up on the different levels. And so that's how I started. That's where I got my foundation from. But over the years, what happened was we began to start getting bought out by different corporations. And so,
and if I can interject, if anybody remembers, especially was this about 10 or 15 years ago?
About almost 20 now.
Almost 20. So there was a time, if anyone can remember this listening, that there were all these buyouts happening, not just with HMOs, but with other organizations. And that was kind of like people were needing to either purchase, and that's a whole big thing, mergers and things like that. And so it affects every single aspect of business, even on the level of the individuals, of course, that work there. So this is a prime example of a buyout. So just continue. I just wanted to point that out.
Yeah, and so it actually happened to me 3 times. Bought out by 3 separate management companies, and anyone who's in management knows once you're bought out by a company, they bring in their own management team. So management is the first to go. So I was always the first to go. And so on that 3rd time, it just so happens that I was 9 months pregnant with the justice, and I just saw it as an opportunity. I was blessed enough to stay home with him to raise my son, and blessed enough where my husband was able to take care of us. But of course, that didn't last long because my income was pretty sufficient because, of course, I was in management. And so we took a hit.
It takes 2 incomes to run a home.
Yeah,
it does, especially with a child, for sure.
Exactly. So it really did change. And I knew I had to do something to kind of help out. So I began to look into other things and other avenues to do. And one of the, and it's so ironic because on your podcast, but my business was actually birthed from
because of this girl right here.
because
of this girl right here.
Yes,
okay,
yes,
go ahead.
yes.
Continue.
So it all started with a need. The name of my business is Kelli Kremes and Trends, now Trends. But it was all birthed out of a need. I can't remember the year, about 4.
It was 2013.
Okay, 2013.
Yes.
You had surgery.
Yes.
And the medications and different things from the surgery, your skin kind of
began to flake and flare up, and it was all kind of stuff.
It was a reaction.
On.
Yeah, you were having a difficult time there. And me being the oldest sister of my siblings, always in take care mode. What can I do to help? What can I do? And so, I was really concerned about you. And so I knew that I didn't want to put another chemical on top of what I thought was a chemical reaction happening already. So I said, well, what can I do? So I did my research. I started looking up different ways to heal the skin naturally. And after my research, I gathered some ingredients, sat in my kitchen, created a recipe, had no idea what I was doing, just said, here, try this, right?
Yes. You bought me a very large jar.
A jar.
Was it? It was lemon.
I can't even remember.
Like lemongrass and basil. It was.
I don't even. But you didn't like it though, because you said, I like how it feels, but it stinks. So I remember.
Sisters can be honest with each other.
Yeah.
But I used it. And my husband actually used the remainder of it. He used it all.
Yes. And so, that's what happened. You used it. And I think after about 3 or 4 days, you were telling me how your skin was responding so positively to it. And I was thinking, okay, all right, great. And I believe after that, your husband, boyfriend then, but now husband, used it and said, hey, this stuff is pretty good. Can I get some more? And I think he shared it with, did Seneca share it with his mom?
It's possible they shared it because it was no longer in my possession.
Right.
So once he took it from me.
Right. And he wanted more. I think he was actually the one that wanted more. And when I found out that people actually wanted to pay me for this, I knew I was onto something.
Yeah.
So with a few more tries and testing and, actually reaching out to a chemist and really, getting it down to where I thought it would be acceptable. Kelli Kremes was birthed. So yeah, it all started with you.
It all started with me. You are welcome. You are most welcome.
It did. It all started with Tisha.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So you began a whole line from that one jar. You birthed an entire line of product. Like it evolved, and it evolved very quickly into all of these wonderfully scented bath products and self-care products, and we're going to go into that in just a little bit. Before we talk about the product line, I want to talk to you about how did you really start with the bones of your business, because this is not the only business that you and your husband have.
Right.
And there are things, a lot of people have a lot of fears on starting. I know myself, there's like, if you work a 9-to-5 job, or if you work a job, you're kind of dependent on that paycheck sometimes. And we're people of faith, and we say, no, we know that the Lord is our source for sure. But there is a sense of reliance when you have a regular income coming in. But what did you do once there wasn't that regular income coming in on your part to start your business? How did you know which way to go? How did you know how to begin? I am going to ask you to talk a little bit about your other business, just to kind of, so people can get an understanding, not just from what you do individually, but how to even start a bigger business, which you have a very large contracting business. So talk about that a little bit.
Well, again, the contracting business was birthed out of a need. My husband was always the last one hired and the first one fired. And it was just because back then I thought it was something else, but it's just really the trade that happens in construction. But we realized a long time ago that, hey, we need to do this for ourselves. And because I did have a corporate management background, I knew how to run things. When I say that, I knew how to run an office. I thought, I can run a construction office too. So we talked and we said, well, let's just do this for ourselves. My husband is a licensed electrician. And so I said, well, you have your license. You don't have to work for anyone. You can work for yourself. And once again, we said, okay, let's do it. We just stepped out on faith, prayed about it. We even prayed about our name.
And what's the name?
The name of the electrical contracting business is Mr. Megawatts.
Mr. Megawatts.
Yes. And so we actually, again, just stepped out on faith. Back then, the Yellow Pages was the social media guru. Was Yellow Pages.
How long ago was that?
Exactly, right? Telling my age. But we really had to secure an ad in the Yellow Pages.
Okay.
We created business cards. We bought a truck with a little bit of money. We scraped up some money and bought a truck. And I said, we have to be professional. So I went to the store and got him some pants and a nice little shirt and went to an embroidery store and had it embroidered and said, okay, we waited for the phone to ring. And did we wait? So it was a process. It didn't happen overnight. The one thing I would like to share to people is that it does take time. You have to master your craft.
Okay.
It's not something that, because you think that you have the best product out there and you think that you're the best at it. And guess what? Somebody else thinks the exact same thing.
Sure.
So, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with thinking you're the best, because if you don't, who will? And you do have to have that type of confidence within yourself and or your product. Because if not, it'll tell. People will see, I don't know if this guy knows what he's doing, or I don't know if this, girl knows what she's doing. So master your craft and just know it takes time. You see all these people on YouTube and on Instagram and Facebook, and they're showing you all the pretty stuff.
They do. It's deceptive.
It's very deceptive.
Yeah, it's deceptive.
No, it's not. No one's showing you when something didn't go right on a project. Something's not. Nobody is showing you when you're looking at a test. You've done a product and you've spent money on testing that product and it failed. So, just know that it takes time. And if you're not really, really passionate, and you hear this like, what is she saying new here? But it's the truth.
Mm-hmm.
If you are not passionate about what you're doing, you should not do it, period. Because there are going to be ups and downs in business.
So thinking about, and I could tell a million stories about watching in building that contracting business and watching you evolve, building this business that you have with your bath products line. But what are some of the things, some of the secrets, some of the things that, we have small business organizations, and banks always have workshops and community organizations and, empowerment zone, things that people can rely on in the community. However, sometimes there are things that are just maybe not necessarily always given for people to start, that no one ever tells you how to begin and what to do and what to look for. Mm-hmm. So for example, when you started off doing contracts and doing bids, you had to read you had to read them, you had to understand them, you had to know the language, you had to know who to talk to, you had to understand your role as the vendor or contract. There are all these things that you need to be able to do. So what are some of the things that, if you could tell our listeners and our viewers, mm-hmm. what is it that they need to start with? How do they need to start, and what do they need to look out for?
Okay, so the first thing I would tell you to do is to pray. Pray about your business. Pray about your business and pray over your business. Also pray for your competition. And the reason I say that is, and this is true because I do. Mm-hmm. I'm telling you, I'm being transparent. This is what I do. I pray for my competition. I learned a long time ago that I am the competition. Mm-hmm. And I don't say that arrogantly. I'm saying that because I have enough confidence in knowing that the product that I produce is just as good as my competition.
If not better.
Okay? If not better. Right. Yes. So you have to really, really, really know your product, know the service, and you have to educate yourself in that product. And when you say, where did I start? Like I said, I did research. Mm-hmm. I researched. So that's the first thing in business. Research your business. Whatever business you're going into, you need to know what you're doing. People do business with people they trust, mm-hmm. and who they like. And you have to be able to give an answer when the questions come up about your product. Mm-hmm. So for instance, when people ask me, sometimes they say, what do you do? I've heard it said when people say, oh, well, I do. And please don't take offense to this, whoever produces t-shirts. I'm just using it as an example. I do t-shirts. Okay. Well, what makes you different from the other person that does the t-shirt? Mm-hmm. And then I've heard people say to me, oh, you do shea butter. No. My name is Kelli. I am the owner and founder of Kelli Kremes, which is an alternative skincare solution company.
Alternative skincare solution
company. Yes. That is different from I do shea butter.
Sure.
So again, you need to study and research what you do. You need to be able to provide a solution to people's problems.
Because that's what people are looking for.
That's what they're looking for.
And that's how businesses are born.
Exactly.
Like you've been saying the whole time, it was born out of a need. So people need problems solved. And how does your business solve that problem? How does it meet that need? What consumer base are you going to be able to provide services for?
Exactly. And it goes both ways. From the electrical side, I provide a solution, meaning you have an electrical problem. What am I doing different? So when someone asks, yes, my husband is an electrician, but we're your friendly neighborhood electrician, okay? Which is a little different from we're just an electrician. Mm-hmm. You just add something to it. You have to find what your niche is and how do you rise above your competition. So that's just one of the things. And then the other thing is service. Mm-hmm. Service is so important now because of the internet.
We're getting ready to talk about service in a minute. Keep going.
But it's very important because just one bad review is worse than 5 positive.
Yes, and it
reviews.
takes a long time to even overcome those views.
It does. And, some of the reviews people give you, you're not going to be able to please everybody.
Right.
It's just, I look at some of the big companies who are billion and trillionaires. Have you looked at their reviews?
Yeah.
So we all know that
sure.
with business, everybody is not doing everything great. Everybody is not doing everything perfect. But what you should be doing is offering a service and catering to that client to the point that they don't want to do business with anyone else.
That is true.
And if you make a mistake, which you will, if you are in business, if you don't get anything else, you will make a mistake. Something is going to happen, but then how do you correct it?
How do you recover from that?
How do you recover from it? What makes you different from the other person that may have made a mistake in the business? So that's another thing I pride myself on, is making sure that I take care of my customers. I let them know I value you. I value your business and I appreciate you. So that's something that I would definitely say do. Another thing is, you have to write. Here's some of the do's. Can we
Sure.
go into the do's?
Yeah, go into the do's. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
So some of the do's in a business, which I wish someone had shared with me when I first started, was you have to write down your plan. A lot of times we are so eager
to get started.
We
get an idea.
Yes.
And it's like, I'm about to run with this. Well, did you write anything down? Well, I got it all up
I
here.
got it all in my
here.
head.
Don't worry, I got it all up here.
Right.
Nobody is that good.
Right. You really need to write it down. And the reason you do that is because it allows you to see the big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Because right now you're seeing bits and pieces, but you need to see the big picture. So you really, if I don't stress anything else, you really do need to do the business. I know people say business plan, but you really do need to do this business plan.
And it doesn't have to be super cumbersome. There are a lot of course, software applications and even organizations that will assist you with writing your business plan and making it succinct, making it make sense, helping you vet out ideas, making sure that you understand the resources and capital that you need, what's your niche. Like, there are all these different things that you can do to get that business plan written, because there is nothing worse than having made all these products or whatever it is that you are doing, but you don't have a plan on what you're going to do, because the plan is the roadmap. It's the roadmap to what you intend to do with your business. It's your mission, it's your vision, it's your values, it's how you're going to raise capital, it's what you're going to sell, how you're going to sell it, when you're going to sell it, all those things.
Who is your targeted market? Who are you trying to sell to? Who wants this product? Who wants this service? Where is the best place to put this? I mean, you really do need to sit down and think those things out. So it's important to have a business plan. The second thing that you really need to do is secure a CPA. CPA.
You mean black people have CPAs?
CPA, a certified public accountant. Okay? And nothing against friends. If you have a friend, listen.
That's good at math.
You.
Not necessarily.
And it hasn't been my experience,
no,
because I was smart enough to know this. But you need professional assistance. Mm-hmm. And in the event your friend makes a mistake with your business, okay? And we said that, 10 minutes ago, about everybody's going to make a mistake. It happens. We're not perfect. In the event your friend makes a mistake with your business, now your friendship is jeopardized, okay? Nothing personal, friend, but this is business. I take my business very seriously. Mm-hmm. So you need to go outside of the friend zone and secure you a professional CPA, okay? Someone who can take a look at your books, can set you up, because you have 3 taxes to pay. 3. Not one.
Mean there are 3 taxes
2,
for businesses?
Not,
what are those taxes?
So your taxes are federal, state, and local. And you can pay...
In addition to your personal taxes.
Okay.
In addition to Rita.
Okay. You can pay now or you can pay later. But you're going to pay.
You will
exactly.
Pay.
So the best thing to do is to secure a CPA so they can set you up with your federal, your state, and your local. And if your business is outside of where you live, then that's another separate tax. So I live in Cleveland. My store is in Beechwood. I have to pay Beechwood taxes on top of my Cleveland taxes. So again, please, whatever you do, secure a CPA. It is very important to do that.
I know you got a couple more points that you want to share. When people are looking to get ready to, a lot of people, the first thing they think about is, I got to get my name out there. I got to get my name out there. I got to make sure people know who I am. I got to go this. I got to do that. I got to do that. Have you identified or have you figured out, and I know nobody has it figured out, but have you learned a method of securing clients, securing customers?
Mm-hmm. Well, for me, the best way has been really word of mouth. And that's your biggest advertisement. When someone else likes your product, they'll share it and they'll tell others. Another way of getting out there is to do events. It's very important that, and they have them on. I mean, when we start off with mom and dad, when they started, they didn't have social media.
This is true.
All they had was footwork.
And
they hit the ground
and
flyers. And right. And, that still works today.
Yes.
You still need to hit the pavement. You need to let people know. I mean, think about, and I say this, I'm bringing this up, it just came to mind, but when Barack Obama became elected to be president, he had a grassroots. I mean, he had any and everybody talking about him and what he was going to do for this country. And this is not political. I'm not endorsing Barack. I'm not endorsing him, okay? I was just letting you know that what he did was what you still have to do in business today.
You got to get out there.
You have to get out there. You have to let people know, hey, I'm here. See me. And you still have to do that. Yeah. So that's one of the things. But events are good too. Okay. If you can go to some of these events, and when I say events, you say, what kind of events are you talking about? They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram. You can go to events.com of event,
events that are coming up, and
right.
Find out how to be a vendor at that event. You know how to attend that event. Exactly. To share your business.
Right.
One of the final points that I wanted to talk about, and there are a couple things, but we won't have a whole lot of time to get to it. But when people want to be official, they want to be official. Like, so you've got your plan, you've made your business cards, you working on your website, you're doing all those things. What's one last thing that they need to make sure that they do?
You need to make sure you protect yourself. You need to become an LLC or an S Corp. Again, this is when you go back to your CPA and talk to them and find out what is the best method for you and your company or your organization. You have to secure your EIN number, your employer identification number. You need that.
From your state.
Yes.
So you register for an EIN.
Yes. It's federal.
When you register for your LLC,
right.
Though, with the state.
Yes, with the
your
state.
EIN.
Right.
From federal. But
correct.
It all happens. You should be getting it all at the same time.
Yes. You need to make sure you have your paperwork together. I mean, if you're going to be official, okay, don't run out and become official if you're not ready. Okay. And when I say that, because once you start filing for certain things, they're going to be watching. You're going to have city, state, and federal looking at you for everything. So if you're not ready, don't just secure. Now, I'm not saying don't go out and get the website, because, you need to look and see if your name is taken. And yes, secure that immediately if you can. Secure your domain name. Secure your Facebook name, secure your Instagram, LinkedIn, things of that nature. Yes, those are things that you can do immediate and get those things done. However, if you're not ready, within another 6 months, you can say, okay, now I'm ready to file for my EIN. I'm ready to secure a CPA, and make sure I have everything in place, because once you start swiping that square, the Square and the Cash App, trust me, they will be watching. So we need to make sure that you protect yourself.
I want to switch gears just a little bit. And as I stated before, today I have on my Minding My Black Owned Business shirt, because I love my Minding My Black Owned Business shirt. So I have this on. The young lady reminds me of myself with the hair and the glasses. I feel flossy just like her. Now, you are a Black owned business, of course. But there are often times, and I'm sure other people have talked about this a million times over, stigma that come along with us patronizing us. And I'm not a person that is at all racially whatever, because I believe that, we're here to do what we're supposed to do according to how we're supposed to do it as people first. However, I've heard, and it's always a topic of conversation, of we need to support our own and we need to make sure that we're out there, blah, blah, blah. But why do you think that there are issues with people of color supporting businesses of color? I feel like that's a very politically correct way to say it.
To be honest, they've been let down a lot.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you do want to cater and to help and to support your own.
Mm-hmm.
But there have been times when you try to do that and they let you down. Now, with that being said, so do the other people.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You have not had perfect experiences with other cultures.
Absolutely.
So I think that we need to be a little more forgiving with our own.
I can receive that. I can be a little more forgiving because you have bad experiences everywhere.
With everything and everyone.
I'm not perfect. I've done it. I've definitely done it.
Right.
It's true. But you're right, because we do have different experiences at all types of businesses that we visit and patronize every single day, and we continue to go back to those businesses.
Yes, we
despite national attention, despite pitfalls of all kind of stuff. We still go back. Like, they got my favorite coffee, they got my favorite whatever, they got my favorite, and you still going.
Exactly.
And you're right. We do need to be a little more forgiving.
Right.
This is true.
And what I will say too to that Black business owner, if something happens, make it right. I think that we need to be accountable for our actions. If there's something that is not right, make it right.
Make it right. Make it right. So, Kelli, we're getting ready to wrap up, but I do want you to tell us what's going on with Kelli Kremes and Trends right now. Tell us about your product line. Tell us about what you have going on, and tell us where we can find your products.
So I have expanded the Kelli Kremes brand. I now am in a boutique. The address is 24331 Chagrin Boulevard in Beechwood, Ohio. We're right in the Chagrin Pavilion Shopping Center. So I think Giant Eagle is the anchor store on one end and Steinmart is the other. Mm-hmm. So we're right.
There's Big Lots in there too.
Yeah, yeah. So we're right in it. If you're familiar with our area, we're right over in that area. I have expanded boutique to showcase. We have handbags, sunglasses.
Super cute handbag. I mean, super cute handbags.
We have some different items in the store. Sunglasses. We have all different trendy, chic, bohemian women's clothing. We have some really nice apparel. Yeah, so if you're looking for something unique, if you're looking for something different, please visit the boutique. Again, at 24331 Chagrin Boulevard in Beechwood, Ohio.
Yes, and that's where you can also purchase some of her wonderfully scented shea butter, as well as candles. Kelli also makes awesomely scented soy candles. It's ridiculous, and they're a hot commodity because if you don't get them when they're made, you won't have them until the next batch comes out. But I know that production is something that you do, so she has them in stock. But if I slip up one day, I could get one, or she could have sold out.
I do. So my Bath and Body line, I do have the whipped scented shea butters. I have sugar scrubs. I have bath bombs. I have soy blended candles. I have lip balms. We have hair and shampoo and conditioner. We have handcrafted soaps, and the list just goes on and on for Bath and Body. So if you're in need of some Bath and Body products, come on and give us a try. I think you would like Kelli Kremes.
If you're in need of some alternative skincare solutions. And this is all because of me. This is all because of me. Well, thank you, Kelli, for coming on the show today. I certainly do appreciate you. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm hopeful, and I know that somebody has learned at least a little bit, or even maybe a lot, from your journey and how you did it. And just, I hope that someone would be inspired. Know that it doesn't matter if we talked about transitions on our first show, if you're transitioning from one job to the next, or if something happened and you are not sure what to do. If God gave you an idea, if he gave you an idea, pray on it like she said first, and then move on it. Pray on it and move on it. So that way you could be minding your own business, okay? All right. Thank you so much for joining us on The Gathering Place today. I hope that you guys tune in. Please be sure to like and share and to subscribe. Make sure you click the little bell icon so that you can get updates on when we upload new information and new videos. Be sure to check the description links below for information on how to reach out to Kelli and maybe some of the events that are happening in the city, and also to access some of our past shows. Thanks so much for joining us today. We appreciate you. Have a good day, everybody.